Hey everybody.
Hi friends.
We're here in Oakland, California. I'm with Brad. Hey Brad.
Hey.
I'm RJ from HF Pod. This is Brad from HF Pod. This is Couch Report number 2. Important disclaimer for those who haven't noticed, we're not sitting at a couch. The logistics, sort of
it's a hard couch.
Prevented it, but it's a hard couch.
Right.
Couch Report's a state of mind. So we're going to take you through some fish.
We're also missing Tom, we have to mention.
We are missing Tom, and we miss him. He had an engagement that he couldn't break, family one. So he will be back, of course, and we will channel him as best we can, and I'll tell fake stories
of Trey.
About Trey. First of all, so what is Couch Report? So about 5 years ago, some backstory, Brad and I started the Helping Friendly podcast.
Yeah, HF.
We started something called Osiris, which is Couch Report is intended to be whenever Fish is doing webcasts, to the best of our ability. We'll get in front of a camera, sometimes on a couch, sometimes not, and we'll talk about fish. So thank you for Relix. Thank you to Relix for helping us get this going. Jonathan Healy, our producer, has done a lot of work getting us here. One thing, we're going to take questions. We have some questions already, but the reason I'm looking at my phone is if you hashtag Couch Report, one word, actually all hashtags are one word, hashtag Couch Report, and we'll take some questions. But we're going to start by, I think, talking a little bit about the tour thus far. Yeah. I guess first we should say we are drinking a local beer.
A local beer.
As is the custom.
We have to, cheers.
Beer bottle, Unicorn Dust.
Mm-hmm. Brewed right, well, in San Francisco, we're in Oakland, but close.
San Francisco beer. Delicious. So many good beers out here. So I think, the thing about being out here, I did my first California show yesterday, ever. You've seen a lot, but
it was both of our first at Bill Graham.
Bill Graham, yeah. So the thing about the vibes are like sky high at this place, right? In the venue, outside the venue.
So we also do quick hits, if people don't know.
Yep.
For the HF Pod. And one of the things I maybe,
and some other friends, and repeats last night. So otherwise, all.
Which we were talking in line with friends yesterday that maybe there would be no curveball, but they threw that out the window.
We're just too excited. I think one thing that's been discussed quite a bit is Trey's tone and his rig and all the Trey stuff. Our friend Mike Lowe tweeted earlier. Kinds of stuff.
Well, from Tahoe to Gorge too.
Yeah,
a huge change with tubes.
Yep. And guitars.
Yes, and changed guitars from and he was playing Koa 2 at Tahoe, and we noticed last night that he had Who's Marmar right on stage with him. Yeah. So, and I guess that's tuned full step down
for waist.
For waist.
Oh, none of that,
which is incredible.
Yeah, I mean Trey's guitar rig. Ryan, he is a wealth of information. TreysGuitarRig.com. It's incredible. But I think the point is that he's been changing his equipment. He's been changing his effects. He's obviously, we talked about the Leslie and different stuff that he's been doing, but it's kind of crazy. Like between night 1 and night 3, how much of a change.
Yeah, and I like Mike Lowe's that we included that because just the past 6 shows we've heard, but also if you go Trey Band all the way back through 2018 so far, he's done so much different stuff, right? Without Ray and the 3-piece tab, he was really taking the guitarist's lead and also the keys lead on those parts of the songs. I know we've talked about this, but that really changed, I think, the way he was leading the band. Maybe, and then he comes back with Paige, and he's still kind of got that thing going.
And Tom and Matt and I the other night when we did the first one of these, we talked about the use of those effects as more of like rhythm or complement to other, in like letting Paige or Mike step up. So in the past, I think my impression was always that Trey's effects just made him shred, and this is like, it's just a little different, like you said, to kind of fill in for Ray, and now it seems, so he might be still trying to adjust. They're only 6 or 7 shows in, but
I think one of the things from last night, this has been kind of up to this point in the tour too, but those effects let him make it scream, make it cry, like it was wailing last night. And there's trilling, like not a ton though. And he wasn't, for example, at that maze, the end of that maze, it really didn't peak. It didn't blast off. Where that's what we've seen him do before. And I think he's allowing for more, room for other people, like for Paige to step up. Paige's maze solo was 80% and Trey's was 20%. Trey could have gone longer, obviously, but anyway. So I think that's a big trend, and we'll see how that continues to evolve. Obviously, Trey is completely comfortable switching equipment, guitars, whatever he needs to do in between, and we know that he likes to tinker with that stuff constantly. Anyway, but we have to say also that there's people on Twitter who don't think it's incredible or he is comfortable. I think some people think the other, which he's still trying to get comfortable. And even it's not really letting him shred or play, and maybe it's dexterity, now that he's...
it's an evolving sound, know, and I think people do realize that, but you got a band who's been playing together for 35 years, like, it's not going to sound the same as it did 20 years ago, and I think we can all agree that the Leslie sounds amazing. It's great. That thing's really fun to watch it spin, because it's a white, the whatever spins in the actual speaker itself. It's white thing? And you can see it. It's awesome. And it's spinning a lot last night. So I think, 30 years later, 35 years later, they're going to sound different. But they're so talented as a band that it doesn't take them long to kind of get to the next thing and for them to make tweaks. So we'll talk a little bit more about BGCA in a minute. Let's talk about the Gorge, Brad. A supporter of HF Pod, Eric Taylor, who was there to send his thoughts on the shows, and this is what we wanted to share. The shows were all great. Night 1 was probably the best show, but night 2 had so many of my personal favorites. Night 3 was great, but filled with some slower songs. Not quite the energy I needed, but still excellent on headphones. Unfortunately, the weekend was somewhat sullied by reports of violence, and now I just read a tweet from one of the victims who claims that security did absolutely nothing to apprehend the perpetrators. So basically, they make us stand in line for over an hour to check everyone's bags. In the venue, they take zero action. So Live Nation sucks is my main takeaway. That's not our editorial. That's just the reading comment. David Steinberg, Zizix, he wrote something in jambands.com about this. The Fans for Racial Equality put out a statement.
On their website,
On their website. One side note is that Andy Michaels, who does All Things Reconsidered live for Jump Radio, he has been calling the Grant County Sheriff's Office for the past few days, and he has audio of his calls to them on his Twitter at Andrew_Michels. So check that out to hear him trying to get some info, and I think he's going to talk to them further. So as the Fans for Racial Equality said, bigots are not welcome in the community, right? Period. I mean, we all can agree on that, I think, or at least most of us. There's no doubt that all this stuff that's happening, especially what we've heard the details, terrible, right? So besides maybe acknowledgement from the venue, from some people want the band to acknowledge it, the community to recognize it, keep visibility up about this kind of stuff, what else can fans do and what should fans be doing?
The first thing, I obviously agree with the bigot statement and all that stuff, but I think the first thing that we have to remember is that we're an inclusive community, right? And that's doesn't always appear to be that way, especially to outsiders, right? I think.
Yeah.
But if you're part of our community, then you are an inclusive person and welcoming, and those people obviously weren't, right? So I don't think we can say they're part of our community, and I don't want them to be part of it. But at the same time, their terrible opinions and views still, I mean, it's right. They can have them. Right. So let them have them, unless they cross a line or are doing inappropriate things. And obviously, an attack is inappropriate, but I mean, even less inappropriate. I guess,
We had a long conversation about this yesterday, and Brett, you're a lawyer, so you understand this stuff and the First Amendment and all that. Like, there's, there is a line, but I think we can all agree that if you're like a bigot in general, like, don't come to shows. We don't want to buy your drugs. I don't buy any drugs, but if I were to buy drugs, I don't want to buy them from them. And this is a community that should be a safe space, as Fans for Racial Equality said. So I think you're right that there's nothing we can do about people who have tattoos or whatever, but they're not welcome in the community. And when I guess it's being vigilant. And if no one did anything when these things happen, that's like, I guess that's the first thing. And that's
we don't know. I did the quick hit for that show the next day, and the person I spoke with, Jeff, said he had no idea. Like he said I had a great time and everybody was happy around me. So I can't imagine. I know violence has happened at other shows. But on this level, and if it were only because of race, it's terrible. I mean, so huge venue. I don't think I'm talking about the Gorge now. 25,000, 27,000 people. So therefore, maybe it was just so big that some people were there for the party only, and not the band. And I think like those seem to be substantiated claims in terms of what happened to at least one of those guys. And last night at Bill Graham, nothing but amazing
vibes, thoughtful, great fans. Everyone was having a good time. There were no one was throwing shit except for some glow sticks during Hood, which
everybody was sharing like their waters and stuff.
Sharing water. And so hopefully that will go away. But I guess what our message is, like, obviously people like that aren't welcome. And check out Fans for Racial Equality. They're doing really interesting work. We interviewed a couple of people who were members of that group last fall. But in general, this community is about welcoming and love, but we got to take care of each other. So take care of each other, take care of yourself, and be safe out there. And hopefully this will go away and be an isolated incident. But we'll be keeping an eye out, and it is an important thing to talk about. So like I said before, I'd throw something out there. Just send a tweet, #CouchReport. We'll be monitoring. Let's talk about last night. I will say first, for those people who haven't listened to the Beyond the Pond podcast, they'll be putting up an episode tomorrow talking about the Gorge Chalk Dust. So they're going to do one episode a week, I think, after every few shows, highlighting one jam. So if you like the quick hits, but you want to get in more depth, that's where you can do that. So you said this is the first 2-day run at Bill Graham.
Oh yeah, for the Bill Graham. So they've played since 2012. And all the previous times they've been here, they've been 3-night runs. Trey played here earlier than that, and I think he played with Spearhead maybe, or someone did before that as well. But yeah, since 2012 they've been playing here, and this is the first 2-night run. And I think the Gorge run was the first 3-night run at the Gorge instead of 2, so switched it.
So one thing, another got about this was from Jackson, our fellow native Ohioan. He said, let's talk about the stark difference so far between last year's long string of 20-plus minute jams and this year's more concise playing. I mean, there were 3 jams last night that were 14 to 16 minutes in the second set, but there haven't been many really long jams.
No, there haven't, just 1 or 2. But last night's jam seemed plenty long, and 4 songs at 14 to 16 I think kind of fills that. And there was also a theme last night. We're talking about last night right now.
Yeah, we are. Okay. Yeah, we should.
There's a theme that we kind of noticed that ended at the Carini Bliss jam that Trey just made sound amazing, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of an arc there, at least until Carini.
I think so. And to me, so they opened up with 46 Days, which was an unlikely opener. But 12, almost 13 minutes, really nice jam, and then into that nice, beautiful McGrupp.
Wonderful Page solo. He kind of led that whole song. And that was a good 9 minutes. It was really a nice opening.
Pigtail, another like kind of a breather song, but not a song that I think that's probably my first Pigtail. Pigtail.
Yeah, and Trey really enjoys it.
Yeah, just having a good time.
Yeah.
And then City play out here at Bill Graham, Berkeley. There's been some good
Hood too. They always play.
Yeah. The Cities was good. It was pretty. I think you mentioned it was like pretty dirty.
Yeah.
At first,
to start that opening riff or whatever was really gnarly, I thought.
Mm-hmm. I got to meet Charlie Dirksen last night for the first time. He is a vet, as everyone knows. He's been involved with Fishnet forever.
Yeah.
He thought that the Cities did not live up to its potential. So I just want to throw that out there. I
think
thought it was really. I didn't notice. It was just like fun to have a funky Cities.
I think you and I were just kind of having a great time.
Yeah.
And right. They could have. They weren't as spectacularly executing things as we thought, but that's kind of why you go, right?
Yeah, I was not paying attention to that at all. I mean, and then they busted into Nelly Kane, which is you love the Fish Bluegrass. Yeah. I don't know where that ranks on your Fish Bluegrass list, but
it's up there. I think it's like Ginseng, Uncle Pen, and Nelly.
Yeah, it was good. It was really cool to hear.
I don't know.
Well, you love them all.
Yeah,
it's like choosing between your children. All the Fish Bluegrass songs are great. Our friend Jonathan from Broke Down Pod also loves Fish Bluegrass. Yeah, we guys talk about that for hours, but we don't have hours because we actually need to leave soon to go to this concert,
and we're not very close.
Nope. Gumbo.
Mm-hmm.
It was like ready full shit, but
it was a good call.
Yeah, it was a good call. It was a good gumbo,
and a good gumbo. Really, it was nostalgic almost.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought the Gaiuti was like a very bold call after Gumbo, just because like it takes so much detail to play and to nail, and like it's basically all about Trey nailing it. And I think not everyone, but I think Brad and I and probably others were like watching very closely to see how he did. I think he did pretty well.
Which I don't know if that says about me, but
I think it says that you have realistic expectations. But no, I think it was really. I thought it was a really good effort, and that he. Didn't nail every note for sure, but like brought it to the point where it needed to be brought.
It's all about the energy anyway.
It's crazy. It's crazy to think that Gaiuti, like in '94, like those early versions are so intense.
Yeah,
because they're just like they drive to these intense peaks, and that's not really the way it works anymore. But it was still cool to hear. Axela,
also intense.
Yeah,
right.
We I think on the Under the Scales interview with Trey, I think Axela came up, or maybe it was in another conversation. I was expecting, or we want Axela 2, but I don't think Axela 2 is ever coming back.
No, I don't think so.
But they should bring it back. The Dogs, which I think is like one of the best thrilling, chilling songs. A really nice jam. Not funky like a lot of the other ones, but like a straight ahead rock song.
Right. I like it. Again, it's Trey's tone now kind of lends itself to that song.
Yeah,
where he can make those.
Make
those sounds or whatever. Right.
Yeah. And that was part of the point, I think, of that song, was just to rage it. Dirt, which I love hearing, beautiful.
Yeah, but we mentioned quirky placement. I thought Dirt was kind of quirky there. It's usually like where Nelly Kane came in, or it's after like one or two in the second, right? The cooler, and it wasn't. I'm not complaining. It was
I think I said that so I saw Charlie Dirksen, as I mentioned, at Set Break, and he said the same thing. And the one tape that I always remember is the 12/29/97 MSG show that the last three songs go Fluffhead, Dirt, Antelope. And that's just like, that always sticks in my head because it was like the really slow Dirt before that crazy Antelope. But but I don't think it happens that often when it's like right before the set closer. And then we got the David Bowie that I think a lot of us were calling.
Thought to close the second set, I maybe not, but
first set.
First set. Yeah.
It was fun. So second set, MOBA Dance, not something that we would have expected, probably, right?
A different placement.
Yeah, and the first repeat of the tour. Definitely not. I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me, and I should, but I don't think it has opened a second set probably since like the 90s. There were a couple really jammed out ones in the
back when it was Black Eyed Katie. Maybe.
Yeah, when it was turning into MOBA Dance.
Right.
When it was going through that. And then into a song I Heard the Ocean Sing, which I think was the first kind of big jam.
Yeah. It wasn't an incredible jam, though, I don't think. It was just big and nice and...
got a little bit of a bliss.
MoMA's usually like early first set to get a groove going, right? And then a song I Heard the Ocean Sing is usually later in a first set, it seems.
Yeah. Except for like 04 when they were like jamming it in the second set. But
right when Round Room was out. But again, I wouldn't never have called that those two opener.
And Into Mercury, which I thought had a really nice improv section. I think people think of that song as just like the different composed sections, but that had like a real jam. It seemed like they kept moving toward like a huge jam.
I have to admit, I was waiting for it. I was looking forward to hearing it. And I was at that point in the room. I was so hot. I went and I paced the upper level, stuck my head in a few different places to see, just because I needed to cool down. Yeah,
it was hot in there.
Yeah,
I was welcoming it, but it was very hot. So the Carini. So the Carini, I think, to me, like you mentioned, the kind of that jam that they landed into. To me, it was like an intentional building, almost from like the post verse point until the end of the jam of like Trey very slowly and methodically like building up to this blissful peak, which I do think is like kind of where he's most comfortable these days, and I have no problem with that. Like they should do that again tonight, like 6 times, because it's a great place to be.
It's patience too. I think he's got a lot of patience with those blissful jams now. He knows where they can go, and he knows you don't need to, or you can, the longer you anticipate the build, the better the build. Right? I mean, it's always been there.
Yeah, for sure. And I thought, as I punched you several times and was saying, I swear they were going to play You Sexy Thing.
Right.
And I feel like the place would have completely exploded, but I almost thought that like the chord progression was the same as You Sexy Thing. Like I thought I heard, and then I thought I heard someone like Fishman singing it. But I think I was just having too much fun.
You're in your own head by then.
I was.
I mean, there was like a MoMA dance revisit, like that little nice jams for sure.
Yeah. So
heady jams. Dropped
into Maze, which is like a pretty. I think one thing to say about this for people who have, there's like the fourth quarter people.
Yeah.
Like this, drop it into Maze mid-second set. Like it would have been fine for Carini to go into Mountains in the Mist or something.
Yeah,
but they just weren't slowing down. We mentioned earlier about the soloing in Maze or whatever, but it was still like a really awesome version.
And it's really fun to hear. A lot of energy. Trey or Paige was really comfortable, I guess, last night. Like anywhere he
he got up
a spider jams, like he was like you know what I mean. He's like everywhere, like he's a spider. But when he gets up, we
get down.
So what's the better? What do you think? And maybe people can respond to. But would you rather do Rage side, Page side, or when Page gets up, I get down? Like, what's your favorite Page thing?
Yeah, I think when Page gets up, we get down is a great
because
one.
Because you can be anywhere.
And then when he stands up and starts, getting on the clav or whatever else, it's awesome. Right. That was really cool. He was into that jam. They went into after that. They played Boogie On, which I thought was like sort of a waste of time, but only because it just was like it was a nice, fun, funky groove, but it didn't go anywhere, and it wasn't like It wasn't a landing place. It was just sort of like something in between.
It was almost too late to Sally or an NICU or something. You know what I mean? That like that kind of natural and then a closer. Yeah. Maybe they're running out of time.
Yeah. And then the hood, which like the Tahoe hood, really high quality. I thought like patient jam, beautiful. My friend Scott Reese found us. Yeah, we find each other every time during Hood, and that was the second time in 6 days that's happened to us, which I feel pretty lucky about.
Yeah, you're right. It's slower, it's quieter. It's just a patient, and I think they get what it means to us. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was such a beautiful venue.
Did you finish your beer?
I did. Very good. These guys make good beers. Just got a funny question, which is, are we allowed to watch from an easy chair, or does it have to be a couch? Is there a difference between a couch and a sofa? Is this still Lawn Boy?
We have actually a friend here who's on the couch.
Yeah, he is. He's sprawled out. He actually has a blanket on him.
It's really funny.
He can't hear us because he has
headphones on. His name's Aaron. He was with us last night, but he's not listening right now.
Yes, any of those are fine, and yes, this is still Lawn Boy. Okay, so I think the other thing I want to talk about is the encore. Squirming Coil.
Yeah.
It was really nice. We talked about this a bit on the quick hit, the end. Trey and Mike, as usual, like right after the closing of the official song, they go in and put down their instruments and walk off the stage.
Right.
But not Fishman.
Not Fishman. It was pretty awesome. So again, I went back to the time when Mike finished the Coil by himself, and it was really awesome.
Yeah.
And I really feel I've got no reason to believe, other than watching Fishman, that he wanted to close the coil. Like, I don't know how.
He was kind of hanging out back there. Like, he's like, just in case they need, like, you need a drum solo.
And I think Chris even had the lights on him for a second, like when he wasn't. Yeah. And then like his shoulders shrugged and like he just left there.
Well, maybe he just loves watching Paige play that solo, and
I thought maybe he was stuck in there too. Like maybe he couldn't get out. Like he had to move something or something.
It's like when my son is in the back of the spec seat and he's like, he needs help with his seatbelt.
You haven't undone his
But a nice way to send it off. Like I said, people are vibing out here. We're gonna go wait in line in a little while. I think Brad, you mentioned that they've been finishing a lot of songs. Like there haven't been a ton of unfinished. Like we'll go into something.
Other people have had the thought too, I think, but it seems they're noticeably going back to finish the song.
Yeah.
When after 10 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
When they don't. Sometimes it's not always been the case.
But they have been like finishing songs that they typically don't.
Right.
Which is kind of interesting.
And we have no examples of that.
Nope. No, I do. Well, in Tahoe it happened a few times, including song 1 and song 2. So another comment from Linda Rama. She said, "I don't understand when people talk about a particular version or year has been the ideal version. When something is played different, is it then not perfect, or is it just different? How can they experiment without it being compared to another time or version?" I feel like that's one of like the general tensions of being a Phish fan.
Yeah.
Right? It's like everyone has an idealized platonic ideal of Phish, whether it's 97 or 94 or 93. I think we all, or you and I, we try to not be attached to that because it does take away from the experience. Obviously, if you're comparing it to something that's not comparable, right?
Right. We were speaking with Dana and some people online, and they were referring to an 09 version at Jones Beach. I don't remember anymore.
Yeah.
But that's what they go back to because that was maybe the time that it hit them or whatever. They've got the subjective experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's the great thing that we get to do is go back to the time it really impacted us.
Yeah.
So and there's also obviously there's best versions of songs like Providence Bowie.
Yeah.
I mean, right? That aren't
indisputable. No, I think I mean, I think we've talked a ton of times, and I've said to a lot of people, most people who weren't listening, but not having expectations is the best way to do Phish by far.
Right.
If you go in and you want them to play a couple songs that you really want to hear and they don't, then then you're disappointed. So I've tried it. It doesn't really work for me, at least. So
what? No expectations?
No, having expectations.
Oh yeah.
I've tried to go in and be like, they better play Tweezer. Better play Tweezer. So anyway, that's a good point.
The only expectations I have is when I call, like when you hear something and you think it's a song.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're playing, and then they don't.
Yeah. Come on. The calling songs thing, I wish I didn't do because I feel like it's annoying to people, but I just can't. I can't help it. So. One important anniversary today is the 1 year anniversary of the night 5, I guess, of Baker's Dozen, the Lawn Boy.
Oh yeah, the 25th.
It's the 25th.
Wow.
And I know Felicia, she who's watching, she was tweeting about it earlier. For people who were there, we weren't there, but for people who were there, I hope you enjoy that anniversary and like put it back on before the show starts tonight. And you gotta read.
I saw a T-shirt. You said, "Is this still Lawn Boy?" I saw a T-shirt that said, "Is this still Baker's Dozen?"
That's awesome.
That's pretty cool too.
And one other person just to ask because it's a 1 year anniversary, did Lawn Boy become Lawn Man after the 1 year anniversary?
So that's a good point.
That's up for debate.
They moved out of the infant room to the toddler room.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we have to get to this concert.
We've taken up.
What else? What other? Do you have any predictions for this eve?
Yeah, I would tell people to listen to Quick Hit, but I think that we're going to get a deep cut, maybe like a dinner and a movie. I wouldn't mind hearing an Esther, something from June to maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. But I also think I'm also going to say there's an Alaska coming. I don't know how people feel about that. But I just feel it.
People are going to be really mad at you. No, I think that would be okay.
Yeah.
I'm feeling an Architect. I don't know why I was like feeling it last night, but I'm not sure people like.
Your favorite version of Architect is from the Gorge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 727.
13?
13, yeah. So good. Yeah. That's a great first set.
Right.
Architect, Curtain Width. So we're going to keep doing this. We're going to come back to you, I think, in 2 weeks from Atlanta, the Saturday night show, we'll be back on a couch probably. But this table worked out well. Maybe we can take it. I mean, we can take it home.
We could call it couch and table.
Couch and table report.
Yeah.
So we hope you guys can tune back in. Obviously, send us thoughts and feedback to Osiris Pod.
We've got stickers if you see us.
Yeah, like, if you see it, if you're going to the show tonight, come find us because we got stickers and we gotta get those to you. Thank you to Relix for helping us put this on, and to our producer Jonathan for making this all work well. I hope everyone enjoyed it. We'd really love to hear feedback at Osiris Pod. You know, you can email us through our website at osirispod.com, and also you should check out osirispod.com for other podcasts and other content. And we got a lot more stuff coming, including some cool stuff from Curveball. So
yeah, Mr. Tom.
I forgot to tell a Tom story. Maybe I should make something up. Mercury. That's a good song. Okay, so we're going to let you all go. We're going to go to this concert. We'll be back tomorrow doing a quick hit for HF Pod, but we'll be doing this again very soon. So we'll see you next time from Atlanta. Thanks for tuning in. Take it easy.